Hi, I'm Marge. Before we start our next painting, let's review how we compose our painting, okay? Enjoy. Before we get to the technical side of painting a painting, it's really important to decide why we want to paint the picture to begin with. I have magazines that I've cut so many pictures out of, and I have photographed maybe 3,000 different scenes. And when I go through them, the composition isn't right, or for some reason it doesn't inspire me. But if you're not inspired, don't paint the painting. So let's look at what angle or what makes you think that that's going to be a painting that you want to enjoy. All right, the most important part about making a painting is to keep it simple. Leave out a lot of details. I had a teacher named Roger Armstrong, a great man. Very famous at that, as a matter of fact. But he said, "Are you going to go down those stairs to the beach?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, then don't add them in the picture." He said, "Are you going to look out all those windows in the building?" And I said, "No." He says, "Well, then keep them out of the picture. It isn't what's going to make the people be inspired about that picture. Just keep it out." It's important to take action on your inspiration. You know, artistic ideas are fragile and temporary. One way to take a picture of a scene is to take a piece of mat board and cut a hole in it. And if you don't have mat board, use a piece of paper. And it more or less limits the amount you can see. You can take two pieces of paper and have them slide across each other as well. But that way you can move into a simplified area of your scene so that you keep it simple. The first styles of composition you can consider are the tunnel styles. And in this case, it's taking trees or any other type of subject and using a tunnel so that your center of the picture comes through the tunnel. Another easy one is to see the gateway or a tunnel or doors that lead into either a garden area or a chapel area. Now, I made one of these at one time with a very famous teacher helping me, and I had put the tunnel just like this at the edge of the picture, and he said that was completely wrong, that I needed to have a place to walk into it. So you might remember that little secret. Now here is a picture that I did using the tunnel approach, and I was up in Grover Beach, just near Santa Barbara, California, and they have these wonderful eucalyptus aiming towards the beach. All right, in this case, we have a picture that's divided perfectly in half, and that's just what we want to stay away from, because it does cut the picture in half with the clouds up above and the scene down below. So we'd rather try to aim for 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, which is 1/3 sky and 2/3 land, or vice versa. Now, J.W. Turner used to like to take a very large sky and a little bit of land, but most of the plein air artists, impressionists, use 2/3 land and 1/3 sky. On the other case, if you have a fence that's going all the way across, or a wall, there again, one of my teachers said, "Marge, you've just cut the picture in half." So the comment was, and the instructions were, to have bushes and any other type of thing that either grow over a wall or they wind their way through the fence, or particularly on a rail that you see out in the farmland. Have some weeds go up over it or in between it or at the posts so that it makes it interesting. In this case, it's called a balanced composition, where you have a large item on one side and a small on the other. Now, the large item can either be in the front, which you will notice as in these florals over to my right over here, with the small item towards the back. As we come closer here, you'll see the rocks are in the back and the smaller portion is in the front to balance it out. All right, back to our sheet for a minute, just a little bit of instruction. You've probably heard of the golden mean, which is dividing your pictures into 3 areas, and the golden mean would be where these cross areas meet. Sometimes I like to think of it as a butterfly with the body in the center. We don't paint the body of the butterfly, we paint where the wings are. All right, this is showing perspective, and when you have clouds, clouds are usually on a jet stream, so that the ones that are the largest are closer to you, and they get smaller as they go towards the horizon. Now that doesn't count for that great big white cloud that's looming over the mountains. But this is in general when you're following a jet stream. All right, the final ones are, make sure that your signature isn't too close to the bottom, because if you frame it, you'll suddenly have half of a signature. The other thing is that when someone photographs it, including yourself, if you have your signature too low, it may either go off the page or off the film or not be seen at all. Now, what I like to do and what teachers have taught me is that you want to make sure that you use a magic inch around the sides, and that means that nothing of importance is there, because you yourself, when you're taking your photos, you're going to find you move it in, just crop a little here and crop a little there, so you lose it. So, and you don't want your name, if it's Livingston, to just say living. So you want to have the whole name. So make sure that you put your signature there. The last 2 are the trees. Often I see people with 4 trees in a lineup and they look like little soldiers. They're equally positioned, but it doesn't make for an interesting painting. So if we glance over to the painting here, we will see that the trees have a cluster in one area and a couple in the other area, so that they're not all in line with each other. These 3 are pretty close, that one's a little bit farther away, and it's spread out some. All right, and the last one here is showing that many people find that they run their rock directly off the corner, or the creek goes absolutely off the corner. We need to spread that out. If you'll look over at the flowers one more time, you'll see how it's very wide at the edge, and there's enough happening to bring your eye back into the color of the painting. And also in this ocean scene, if I had painted the ocean directly coming off the edge, it would not have been as helpful to the viewer as having it come on either side of the edge. The final 2, and one right behind me, are called mass composition, where you have a large amount of subject matter in one area. That's all for this subject, and now we'll get on with the next painting, and I hope you're here with me, and I hope you're joining me. Bye-bye.